Welcome to Parleh TV.
Plenty of things look easy at first. Skydiving, lion taming. From the comfort of your armchair, all sorts of risks look easy as
Cristiano Ronaldo, Diogo Jota, and Bruno Fernandes literally
blew Russia off the park in a clinical display of attacking football.
Wow.
Sorry, what did you say, Kobe?
Wow, bro.
Let's break it down.
I am Pat Mayo, and I'm here to give you the best pick at the top of the board, the best bet, if you will.
So I'm going to go with just under 25 for Middleton here.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Parleh FC. I'm your host, Albert Vartanian, with Michael Singh and Sarah Pararia. Barcelona, for the first time in 21 years, have been eliminated from the Champions League. They lost 3-0 yesterday to Bayern Munich in a do-or-die game, and now they find themselves in the Europa League. Sarah, initial reaction to this?
It's really tough. As you said, Europa League. We haven't seen that since 2003, 2004. It's unknown territory, especially for younger Barca fans. It was really tough to watch. I'm not going to lie. I didn't go in there with much confidence with the strength of Bayern right now, but I didn't think we were going to get scored on like that. Like, the goals were so comical. The second goal by Leroy Sané, that screamer, Ter Stegen went backwards. Like, there was so much miscommunication. And I think the biggest thing was, up front, they didn't really know what to do when they got the ball, past the halfway point, because there's no one up there scoring. So they just seemed so confused. Players were just, falling apart. We lost Jordi Alba, which is a huge loss right now, considering how many injuries we have. And it was really tough to watch.
For Barcelona, a club that big, to really not show up. And Mike, there was no point in that game where I thought they were going to score. No point in that game where I thought they would get a result. No point at all in which I thought that they might win that game. I mean, listen to Thomas Muller. This is what he said, goal scorer for Bayern Munich yesterday. They can't keep up with the intensity that currently prevails in top-class football, and they took advantage of that. That's a big statement considering who Barcelona are. This is how other teams in Europe see this team. Do you agree with me by the same thinking that there was no real effort shown and it really was an embarrassing loss?
Yeah, and I'll start by correcting you there, Albert. It's who Barcelona was. This is not the same Barcelona team, whether it's the manager, whether it's the players on the pitch, whether it's ownership. This team is in turmoil, and it's not looking like there's a light at the end of the tunnel. There's $1.2 billion in debt. And how are you going to turn over a roster when you can't afford to bring star players in? This is a team that has high expectations, and I just don't see any way that they can live up to those expectations. We're in for a serious rebuild when it comes to Barcelona. They're going to have to take a long evaluation from top to bottom. And again, I don't see this happening very quickly. It's going to be a process, and it could take a while.
Sarah, can you find the silver lining in the situation for Barcelona?
I mean, I know, like you told me before the show, going to Europa League, it's kind of like a reset. But I think Michael just hit the nail on the head there with the amount of money that Barcelona are in debt. It's not about a restart or a new coach or, we are in a financial crisis, and we need to rely on players that aren't our B players. Like, I'm so happy with Ricky Puig and Pedri and Nico Gonzalez and, all these young guys. They're great, but they're getting tired and they're not used to playing like this all the time. We need superstar players. This is Barcelona. Like, this is not a low level club. So I think Mike is right. I think it's hard to see a silver lining when this seems like it's going to be a longer process than that.
Yeah, you're right. Looks like a long way up for Barcelona, but they still are Barcelona. They have that style. They have Xavi Hernandez now as their manager. So, I mean, there's a little silver lining there. At least that's what I think, is that I think they have the foundation and the base to build from this, even though it looks pretty bleak at the moment. Let's talk about Manchester United. They drew 1-1 with Young Boys yesterday in the Champions League. The result doesn't really mean so much. I mean, if you're Manchester United, you don't want to draw Young Boys. You want to beat those types of teams. But RalfRangnock, the interim manager, made 11 changes to the team that beat Crystal Palace in the Premier League. Mike, do you think a lot of these players made at least somewhat of an impression on Rangnick yesterday?
Yeah, I would say they made somewhat of an impression. As you mentioned, there are a lot of changes, and against a team like Young Boys with not too much to play for, it's always tough to get a real read on this game, especially when you're not playing alongside the highest quality of players. But that being said, I think there were a few standout performances. Notably, of course, Mason Greenwood with his absolute golazo in the ninth minute, and a little bit of a kind of like a bicycle kick, which is a great finish. And I think he absolutely needs more playing time. He's someone that Manchester United have had for a while, and like while a lot of people like to get hyped up about transfers, you have someone of that caliber in your own backyard. So it's about time he gets some minutes and they start developing this guy, because he really is an absolute superstar. I also really like the play of Shortire. He's a young, up and coming, I want to say, attacking midfield. It looks like his best position, and he has a quality touch. And I was really impressed by his game. And even going back to last season when he got a few brief appearances, I think he's someone for the future. So keep an eye on him. Luke Shaw was good. And I really like the game of Eric Bailly as well. I think he's someone who, if given a run of games, he can really turn out to be a world-class center back if he can stay healthy. Of course, that's the key, because it hasn't been the case the last few seasons. So there's a lot to like there. That being said, like I said, it's tough to get a real read on all of that.
They have depth. Manchester United have absolutely an abundance of really good top talent players. One I still think is a very good player is Donny van de Beek, and I feel bad for him. Unlucky yesterday to give away that goal. Maybe not so unlucky, just made a bad decision, made a mistake. Did he drop the ball, Sarah, in terms of trying to make an impression on this new manager?
No, I don't think so. It's really tough, especially for younger players when they do make a mistake. So I know it hits them, a lot more mentally than it would a senior player. But these things happen, and I think if Rangnick is a smart guy, he's not going to take it too seriously. Donny van de Beek has a ton of potential and talent, and we know that. So I'm hoping to see him have more minutes, because shit happens. But like I'm sure that he is still, the player that we all know he is to be, and I think Ralph will also see that.
You know quite well. ChrisArmas, former TFC manager, has come in as an assistant manager to Ralph. Their philosophies seem to align in terms of attacking football and high press. Toronto FC fans have made their opinion known on Twitter quite clearly how they feel about ChrisArmas. Your thoughts and your reaction on him going there?
Yeah. So as someone who has spoken to ChrisArmas quite a bit over the past year, almost on a weekly basis, before, of course, his departure from Toronto FC, I can start by saying ChrisArmas is a good person. And I think that's key in an assistant coach, where someone who can get along with most of his players and someone who's easy to talk to. With that being said, I'm not sure he's actually a good head coach, which is good why he's not brought into that position. As an assistant coach, however, could he find success? Perhaps. This is a guy who I think tactically there's some issues there, especially when you're trying to think about the type of players that Manchester United have. Can he get along with some of those big personalities? That's another question. He had a really public rift with Josie Altidore of Toronto FC. So there are some really big question marks there. And I keep coming back to this question I asked myself is, could they not have gotten someone better? Now, RalfRangnock was very open about saying that some of his top candidates perhaps were not available at this time, so they had to be smart about bringing people in. Of course, Armas was available. They both were at New York Red Bulls together. They both play that high-pressing style of play. So perhaps there is a fit there. So I guess we'll have to see how this plays out, but I wish ChrisArmas the best, because like I said, he is a good person.
Sir, what do you make of what we've seen so far in Manchester United recently? Bringing a new interim manager, and now he's changing around that backroom staff, and is currently going to change, or in process of changing, Manchester United's style of play to become a more attacking, high-pressing team, something we haven't seen from them in quite some time. So far, has he done what we think that he's been brought here to do?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you bring in a new coach, you have to work with, all the players you have. You have to move people around. You have to see who plays well together. You have to see what goes on in the change room, what goes on behind closed doors. So I think he's definitely doing the right thing, and they have been doing better. It's a hesitant better, because beating Arsenal is not anything great whatsoever. So I know, and then you have like a win against against Young Boys Bern, who's the bottom of that group. Like, they should be winning, and I know that we're playing their more like B team, but I think he's on the right track. But do I think Man United are gonna do anything anytime soon? No, I don't have any faith in this team still. And just a reminder to everyone talking poorly about Barcelona, we're in 7th and they're in 6th. So keep that all in mind.
that could change this weekend. Manchester United taking on Norwich City in the Premier League. Thanks, guys, for watching. For Sarah and for Mike, this has been Parleh FC.